Hi guys, we're doing a wrap-up report for our long-term Lexus GS-F. I've had this for a few weeks now. You know the car was running, but turned it off because I just wanted to start up for you guys. Ho ho ho, listen to that. 5-litre V8 of course, 471 horsepower, 390 pounds-foot of torque, 0 to 100 in 4.5 seconds and 270 kilometers per hour top speed. I've done about 2,323 kilometers in this thing, as you can see, over the last, 5-6 weeks or so. I'll put it all in the report afterwards. I could show you around this car, but you know what? You've seen the pictures. I'll put the pictures up. I'll intersperse this video with pictures of this car, probably around here. But it's been a fantastic car to live with. I brought it to this fantastic little road so that I can just try it here, because, you know, this is a sporty thing, before giving it back. So it's one of my favorite little roads. I'm going to go straight into Sports Plus, as you can see there. Let me show you again, because that does that, and then it goes into Sports Plus. It's got another little button down here, TVD. What's TVD? It turns the TV on. No, it doesn't turn the TV on. Don't be silly. It's a torque vectoring distribution, that sort of stuff, you know. And if you look at that TVD down on the bottom right of the dial there, I press it once, slalom. Press it twice, track. Let's go into slalom, I think. Quite a twisty little road, so I think slalom will be fine. So I thought I'd run it across this road as I just talk you through the experience of what it's been like to live with this Lexus. Where can I put all this? Hang on, let me put it in here. Let me put it in this, because this is nice. Slides. So it slides like this, 2-level sliding, or it opens completely. So I can just put that in there. And don't want it falling around. There you go. That should do it. So there we go. And it's got an 8-speed automatic. With paddle shifts. They're pretty good actually. I'm going to go straight into manual. There we go. It's in second gear actually. Started off in second from there. Now, I have to say that around town it's a fantastic car. You know, it doesn't ride as well as your regular Lexus because it is quite sporty and it's quite firmly set up even in comfort mode. So it's a little bit more brittle, a little bit harsher. And when I say harsher, it's a relative term when it comes to a Lexus, because of course it's not harsh. It's a Lexus. The refinement, the quietness, everything is still there. But it's just a little bit harsher than you might have expected in a big old Lexus saloon, if you see what I'm saying. But put it into Sports Plus, gets a little bit more brittle, gets a little bit firmer, really more body control, and that's what I've put into here. But it's never really harsh. So driving around town, it's fantastic. Very, very smooth, very comfortable. Honestly speaking, I mostly leave it in normal. I like the sound of the engine, but you get that pretty much anyway, even in the regular mode. But I pretty much leave it in normal. That's how I've driven it most of the time. And because of that, fuel economy has been pretty decent for what is a 5-litre V8, you know. As low as 11 or less than 10. In fact, I've managed to get less than 10 on a longish run. Look at this. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Wow, it really, for a big old car, it really sort of settles into a corner. Good thing is it goes into second. Like some gearboxes will lock you out second when you're doing stuff like this. I've been here. How many times I've done a review here and I've been frustrated about not being able to change down? Not so with this one. Whoa, satisfying. Third gear, second. There you go, a nice caddy coming the other way. And let's string these roads together before I start jabbering again. I think there's a car coming the other way. No problem. There he goes. He's fine. Don't want to scare him. There's 2 cars coming. Oh, it's busy old today, isn't it? But, I mean, you know, not a lot of feel as much as you would expect maybe from a sports saloon from the steering, but certainly accurate, certainly meaty, you know, and nicely weighted. But boy, the performance, you know, it's not a brutal performance. It's not like a thump you in the face, smack you over the head and drag you through the corner sort of performance. But it's a sort of performance that look at that. You know, initial takeout's pretty good. And the brakes are fantastic. Very reassuring, very progressive. But the handling is surprisingly good for a car of this size, really. You know, nice. It just kind of, you just sort of smooth it. You don't throw it around. It doesn't want to be thrown around. You just sort of smooth it into a corner. You just sort of coax it in, let it settle, bring on the power. Here we go. So brake, turn it in, power. It's great. And third gear is good enough for this road, and it will keep third gear. Remember, 8 speeds it's got, but it's quite happy to play in third and second if you wanted to. But coming up behind a much slower car there, and a smaller car I suppose. But it's a blind crest, so I'm just going to slow down. and just talk you a little bit through this car. But owning the car has been fantastic because it's a decent size. You know, it's not too big, but it's big enough to have a presence, to have a substance about it. And it looks different from the ES. You know, people are like, oh well, you know, it's like an ES. I know there's a lot of confusion because there's a bit of an overlap between, you know, let me get past this guy because it's just be more fun that way, won't it? Oh, on the limiter, how do you like that? Nice. So there you go, back into third again. It likes third, but yeah, no, it's just the right sort of size to have enough presence, and it does have a presence, especially this F version with those vents and those gills that it's got on the front flanks, you know, and it really stands out. It's got quite an aggressive front on it as well. So people do see it, people do realize that it's something a little bit different, and I've had, like, you know, people trying to get in front of you or cut you up, and then they just back off because they see the white Lexus F version and they go, oh yeah, no, maybe not. But it's very easy to drive, very comfortable to drive, ideal city companion, and it has that look about it, it has that presence, it has that specialness about it, and inside it's all very solid, very nice, fantastic stereo. The AC overdoes it every time. I have to keep on 26, 27. You know, people are like, why do you keep it so hot? Because it cools me down too quickly. I get freezing in this car. I'm like, oh my God, you know, and we're talking like nowadays it's 48 degrees sometimes, 41 at the moment, but the sun is setting at the moment. But here we go, look at this. The power just, it's very progressive, it just builds nicely, you know. But everything about this car is smooth, it's linear, it's progressive, nothing too abrupt, nothing too crazy. But having said that, quite satisfying. And look, it'll change down. Second, you know, at 100, it's changing down into second. A lot of cars won't let me do that, but this will. There's no need for the second gear, for sure, because we hit the rev limiter as you saw. But nice and satisfying to know that it'll let you do it. You know, it will let you do it. But very, very pleasing car to own. A very nice proposition. And I'm enjoying it here as well. This is the surprise, because I haven't had a chance to bring it out. But I've had it over Ramadan. And as you've seen, the scarcity of reports on this car, because really I haven't been able to do too much over Ramadan, and it's been too hot. But coming out here today after it's post-Eid, I'm going to put it into normal now so I can just cruise. There we go. You just push it down and it goes straight into normal. And the TBD you have to do manually. There you go. So standard. But it's just nice to know that it's a great city companion. It's great on the motorway, and that's when, you know, the fuel economy really dropped down. I mean, it's now 12.2. It's showing 12.2 after I've just done that, and as you've seen, I was bouncing off the rev limiter most of the time. But that's the highest I've ever seen it, 12.2. I suspect if you're a foot on the floor everywhere, you know, maybe it'll get up to 13. But overall, it's surprisingly economical, sensible, and moderate in its usage of fuel for a V8. The temptation is there to floor it all the time, but again, you know, like I said, it's not a brutal performance. Like, yeah, floor it now, changes down, it makes a great noise, but it's not an immediate thump. It takes a while to build it up, and then it's a very progressive, very linear, or, you know, I wouldn't even say relentless, but a very strong surge of acceleration that you get out of it. So overall, what do I think of this car then? I mean, I really like it. I've really enjoyed having it over the last few weeks. I have to say, it kind of fits me. It really does fit me. It's sort of my style. It's sort of my level. I mean, I feel very comfortable with this car, not just because of these fantastic seats, but because it just fits my sort of personality and character. It's smooth, it's refined, it's sophisticated, but it's quietly potent. Read into that whatever you like, but that's what I'm saying. and I do like it, and I got on very well with it. Can I find a criticism with this car? Very hard to find any criticism with this car. This is a well-used example that they gave me. This wasn't a brand new car, and on top of that, this is also their test car. So this is a car that's been around the block, and they've done a lot of testing, a lot of messing around with, a lot of training, a lot of that sort of stuff on this car. So there's been a few squeaks and rattles in this car, which are very un-Lexus-like. You wouldn't normally get them in a Lexus, but I put that down to the fact that this car has had a very hard time in its very short life. So, but having said that, it's never missed a beat. It's still very refined, very quiet. Very wonderful car to just cruise around in every day. Any other complaints with this car? No, seating position is great, visibility is great. Boot space isn't great because they've got a big old wheel in there. I did manage to get one suitcase in there recently for somebody, but otherwise it's pretty tight. So if you're thinking of shifting a lot of cargo, this definitely wouldn't work as an Uber car because the boot space is not that great at all. But that's down to there being a massive wheel in there, which maybe you could probably leave at home if you needed to. Aside from all of that, the only other gripe that I've got is the price. This car is 350,000 dirhams new. And I think that's a bit expensive. Especially because I've heard of other markets in this region, it's a bit less than that. So that's what I've heard from some of you guys, some of your readers have been telling me this. I would say if they could get it down to under 300, it would be a very attractive proposition. I would say about 280 is on the money for this car. 280 on the money for this car, especially considering that the GS has been around a while. It's not a new car. It's pretty much on run out. There are rumors that it's not actually going to be replaced, which kind of makes sense because there's that overlap between the ES and the GS. And actually, if it was up to me, it's the ES I would kill because the ES has just become like an Uber car and an airport car and a hotel car. And actually, I don't think that does it any favors. I don't think that does the Lexus brand any favors. So I'd kill that one, I'd keep this one. But anyway, I think that's what they're going to do. So I think keeping all of that in mind, I think you've got to make it an attractive proposition. It's nicely kitted out, no problem with the kit and everything like that. It's got cool seats, electric seats and all the rest of it. So trip computer and all the rest of it. So I'm not complaining about any of that. But I think that for what it is, the price is a bit high. Knock it down a bit, and I think they could probably shift a few of these quite easily because it is a very attractive proposition and a wonderful car to just have, really. So there you go. There's our final report on our long-term test of the Lexus GS-F. You could, of course, follow that on Motoring Me, the report. I'll put it up on motoringme.com. And all of the social media posts, just search for hashtag MMEGSF and hashtag MME long-termer, and you will have seen, or you will find, all of the posts that go with this car. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Leave your comments below, and all the rest of us, follow us, of course. Follow motoringme.com on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Search for Motoring Middle East. And, of course, follow me. Search for Shahzad Sheikh on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. See you later, guys.